Happy Wednesday and welcome to the download from 24 IT Services. It's been a warm couple of weeks, hasn't it? What I best do is switch over to my co-host in the room today, which is none other than probably one of the best people I know from our local marketing community that I've been speaking with through our marketing forums for a long time now, one of the earliest people who got involved. Let me welcome today Louise Hallam from Yorkshire Adoption Agency. Welcome, Louise. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good. It's one of those things like, I'm going onto a podcast. What do I do now? What do I say?
This is my very first podcast. So I apologise in advance.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I keep saying to people, it's not like we've got the most professional podcast setup in the world, but it works for us.
Yes.
We've got 2 microphones, 2 cameras, and a bank of screens between us. But
yes, that's all you need. It's all you need.
yeah, people don't have to look at me directly. It makes it a little bit easier. How have you been doing this past couple of weeks? And have you been enjoying the heat?
Yes, I'm very much a lover of the heat. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yes, I am. I love to worship the sun. Absolutely. But yes, working in it is very different to being on your holidays. And
Yeah, it's nice and cool in here, thankfully, though, isn't
it's
it?
lovely, lovely air conditioned room. I'm feeling good. My hair will not frizz.
Mine definitely won't have any issues. Little bit no hair at all,
No,
but
no.
yeah.
Yeah. No
But
issues.
no, thank you very much for coming in today. I know we spoke about this a couple of times at
Yes.
the marketing forum and things like that, haven't we? And
Absolutely.
thought, yeah, why not? Let's sit down and have a chat about a few different things. There's a couple of interesting news stories for today that we went through in a little bit of a pre-show, some of the notes that I had down, but let's get right into the first topic for today. This past week, if anyone saw my LinkedIn, by the way, on Monday, I kind of covered this kind of first off. This past week, Sony PlayStation announced that they will stop selling physical game discs in 2028. This comes after they also announced that more than 550 movies and TV shows from Studio Canal will also be removed from users' accounts, even though they purchased them in air quotes back in September. Sorry, they will be removing them in this coming September. Sorry, getting my dates all confused. Additionally, on top of this, Sony will be closing down access to the PS3 and PS Vita stores in July of 2027. Now, each of these stories are important, but for different reasons. Now, at the moment, there is this big thing in the industry of you'll own nothing and be happy about it. Like, when we think of digital games, digital movies, when you click buy on one of these platforms, you kind of expect, I'm buying that. That's now mine to own and use whenever I really want to. However, Sony, and in reality, many of these different digital media providers, whether it be Apple, whether it be Amazon, they don't see it that way. And actually, what we are finding is that hidden inside terms and conditions is that all you're really doing is purchasing a license to be able to view this content or have access to this content until somebody says otherwise, really. And that's really dangerous for people when they potentially think of the Sony one where they're removing 550 plus movies and TV shows. People could have invested hundreds of pounds potentially into buying, in air quotes, this content to be able to view, and then all of a sudden that content is no longer available for them anymore. When we're thinking about things like digital games, a lot of what's classed as AAA titles probably actually don't fit on physical media anymore as well. Most are just too large. So if you get a disc or a cartridge or whatever it is for whatever home console people use, you put it in, and what it first does is it downloads the rest of it. So you don't actually play directly off of that disc anymore. There are exceptions to the rule. There are some games that are actually much smaller. They can fit on a disc, or Nintendo titles actually from Nintendo. Most of those are actually on the cartridge, so you can play them. But even Nintendo are now switching to these game key cards. The game key cards, I can't get my words out today, that actually don't have any media on them. You put them into the system and then you have to download the rest. So that's not really a physical game. So at this point, do you even own any of these things to begin with? I mean, technically, some of these games have even been removed from platforms over time. I think there was once a really well-known one. I think it was Scott Pilgrim. I think the game. I've never played it myself, but I remember seeing that it had been added to a platform and then removed, unless you had found one of the very limited run of physical games that had been released. You couldn't actually play that. Um, and this is why in the industry at the moment, there's a lot of people who are fighting for this physical media preservation. I've got a very large DVD and Blu-ray collection. My wife hates it because at the moment it's just in boxes everywhere. Because the reality is that I haven't actually bought movies and TV shows in physical form. I mean, I can't remember how long. It must be 7+ years. I stream music through Apple Music. I buy digital movies and TV shows through Apple TV. I also stream through a vast variety of different platforms. In fact, I got a notification on my phone. I was looking for my phone then. It's being used so that Louise has got something to be able to see. I got a notification on my phone this morning that the latest season of Switching Gears, which is Tim Allen's new comedy TV series, is available on Disney Plus. It's like, oh, okay, then I'll view that later, sort of thing. I don't buy these physical media anymore. I download PlayStation games. I download a lot of Switch games. I think the exception to the rule, I suppose, with that is that because we've got I've got a Nintendo Switch, my wife's got one, and kids have got one that they share. Sometimes we will buy physical games if it is released as a physical game, so we can share it between us. But yeah, the reality is that I'm not buying a lot of physical media anymore. Even when it comes to books, I buy a lot of books through Kindle. And unless it's a coffee table book or an art book or things like that, I don't really buy physical books anymore. Um, Although we do have a lot of kids' books now I think about it around the house. I suppose that's kind of the difference, isn't it? You buy certain things for certain use cases, and kids' books, they're just we've got bookshelves of kids' books, but no adult books on them.
I think with the books, having something physical specifically for children actually is it helps them learn.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think it
definitely.
helps it sort of sink into your brain, doesn't it? What you do with
It's something tangible, isn't
yeah.
it, to hold on to?
Yeah, and something that you remember sitting with your parents and reading
Yeah.
a specific book, or at school even. I've got memories sort of like from primary school of we had Tales of Odysseus
Yes.
and the Greek gods, and we would sit on the
Been a long time
carpet.
since I've read
I know.
that.
It was amazing. I still remember them, and my teacher was so passionate about it, and
Yeah.
she would sit there with the books. The books would be on, and we would be going through the volumes, so we knew
Yeah.
how far we were through the volumes, and it was something that we could get excited about. I think it's really important for children, I would
Oh,
say.
definitely.
How do your
Definitely.
kids feel about not having physical sort of games and things, or do they not mind? Is it just something that they've
At the moment, it's one of those strange things that, and we've tried to explain it to them because when they've been growing up, the reality is that a lot of the stuff that we've just been getting is digital or we stream it. That
Mm.
my son and daughter are just used to going to the TV and loading up Disney Plus now. It's
Yeah.
they don't think of, oh, I need to get this disc off of a shelf and make sure it's put into this player to be able to play, and I need to find which particular episode I was on or where I was at in this movie
Yeah.
to be able to they don't think of that anymore. It's just resume playing
Yeah.
or select episode or select movie. They don't think of that, and they've grown up in this sort of digital first and this is maybe our fault as parents a little bit, but we've introduced them to this digital first world, and unless it is a book or something like that, they're not really used to anything else.
Yeah, true.
Um, we still, I mean, my son does have a Kindle. We've introduced him to a Kindle now, and he's reading through the Harry Potter books at the moment. We just download, what is it, the full, it's basically all the books in one, basically.
Yeah.
And he's reading through those bit by bit, but he still has loads of books in his room. He actually has all of the physical Harry Potter books as well.
Yeah.
And also things like the Percy Jackson series and some Disney ones that we've got as well. And he enjoys reading those. He also enjoys graphic novels, and sometimes I suppose with those as well, it's different to be able to have those physical versus digital.
Yeah.
So he really enjoys stuff like that.
Mm.
Like my daughter, we were reading through the Chronicles of Narnia with them, with her, and she really enjoyed the books for that.
Yeah.
At school, they've been reading things like Holes and Charlotte's Web, and that's again physical books that
Yeah.
they're able to have in class, and it's different to this digital first culture that we have for almost everything else.
definitely.
I mean, where do you see physical media going at the moment? I mean, I think the statistic is that when it comes to newspapers, there's been a 60% drop in physical newspapers over the past decade, and that continues to drop anything from 10 to 20% a year. Even on PC, gaming on PC, for example, they made the full switch to digital more than 10 years ago, I think. And with streaming first becoming more of a thing, and digital books sometimes, I think, was it The Martian? Andy Weir's The Martian was released chapter by chapter on Kindle originally, before it even became a physical book. Where do you see physical media going nowadays?
I think for me, film and TV, I wouldn't mind streaming that.
Yeah,
I think I think there's so much of that produced that it's yeah. I have my favourites. I still have some DVDs that are
yeah.
favourite sort of things that I've watched as a kid, and
Watch
it's
to death over and
yeah.
over again, sort of thing.
Absolutely, but it's more for nostalgia than actually getting them out and actually watching them.
Yeah,
I feel like, and certain Christmas films, sometimes they don't stream the Christmas film I
yeah,
want. So I'll have my favourites that I will physically put on.
yeah,
But again, I've got that time. I'm doing it at the time.
yeah,
Whereas I think having books, I love a physical book. I like to take books on holiday. I like to
yeah.
feel the pages.
So I prefer the convenience of Kindle, but I understand that preference to physical books.
Yeah. No, I love the feel of a book,
Yeah.
definitely. But again, I think it links to that nostalgia. I remember back, to school, to stories that I've heard, the things I remember from years ago, and I can't remember, what I had
Yeah.
for tea last night. So I think
My
sometimes
memory's just like,
yeah. And also I think especially with my work in adoption, we obviously pride ourselves on supporting families and children to have the life story
yeah,
somewhere. So when you've got information for a child's life story coming from potentially, you've got foster carers that were involved, you've
yeah,
obviously got birth family all the way through to your adoptive family, you're making memories all the time, all the way through. It's really important for those children to remember where they came from and
of
actually
course.
have that physical evidence. And most of the time, although there are now digital versions of life story books,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they're going to take off when you've got so much different information coming from so many different
Yeah.
sources. It's sometimes just easier to have it in a physical book or a memory box even.
Yeah.
Um,
We really value like memory boxes of the kids like growing up, and like my wife's been putting them together for years, like different things that happen, whether it's, I don't know, we've just got through their end of year reports and stuff like that. Those will go into memory boxes and
yes.
stuff like that, just because it's something that you can look back on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose as we transition more to digital, there's always the risk that that will just become lost over time.
Yes.
I mean, I wrote a comment on a LinkedIn post from, it might have been the one from earlier this week actually, where I remember like when I was younger, going into places like HMV and walking around, picking up CDs, picking up like DVDs and stuff like that, looking at like the content that's on it. Like, you don't have that same sort of feel anymore with digital.
No.
Like, I have stuff that's in my like Apple TV library that I bought when it was on offer. Can I remember that I bought it? No. I'll occasionally scroll past it and go, "Oh yeah, I don't want to be able to watch that."
Mm.
But this is the problem with having digital first: is it's no longer tangible. It's not in your hands. You can't see it and go back to it anymore. And I suppose it's just we're losing something a little bit with that over time.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think as well, there's so much content.
Yeah,
So it becomes
content overload in
yeah,
some cases.
yeah, it becomes really lost.
Yeah,
You've got something for every occasion and every feeling.
yeah,
You can just, however you feel, you can just pop something on. But in doing that, you're also I mean, I like to go outdoors. I like to do things with my sort of spare time
yeah.
rather than sitting in front of the
Go
TV.
out, walk,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly. Be in nature, things like that. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes we're losing an element of that by
Oh,
losing ourselves in these stories. Whereas, you can take a story out now,
yeah.
say with like Audible, you can actually listen to a story while you're out in nature.
Yeah.
So I think it's striking a balance. I think it's like anything, I suppose.
Yeah, I love to listen to audiobooks, especially if I'm on a long car journey. I love to listen to audiobooks. I suppose, like, when we go out walking, stuff like that with the kids, it's hard to shove your headphones on.
Just ignore the family.
Yeah. Just you go ahead, kids. I'm just going to listen to this for a while. But no, I really enjoy audiobooks, and I suppose even audiobooks, though, they do have this same type of problem and the same type of challenge with this transition to digital media. I mean, for a lot of providers, whether it's for movies, whether it's for TV, whether it's for books, whether it's for games, um, the reality, I suppose, is that a lot of this type of content is far easier to release digitally and has far less cost behind it. Like, think of, like, for a DVD, for example, or a Blu-ray, like, you have to do the packaging, you have to create the media, you have to then do the promotion for it, you have to get into stores. The stores then have their own overheads. With digital, you don't have that. You just have the overhead of the storefront that you're putting it onto.
Yeah.
And I can see the appeal of the digital first approach, and I think that Sony's approach for this is the strangest of them all, because they're planning to still put boxes in stores initially, but it will just be a piece of paper on a code in a box.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be a digital piece of content.
Yeah.
And it's going to eventually, we saw it with PC games when that originally started to transition away from physical. Eventually, these digital first approach will just no longer be in stores.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen places on the high street like HMV almost go bust and change their approach to how they sell media now. We've seen Game vastly reduce their footprint. They're in, like, Fraser's stores nowadays, Sports Direct and things like that. Like, there is going to continue to be this knock-on impact as providers switch to a more digital first approach, with, like, with newspaper, like, reducing by more than 60% over the last decade.
Yeah.
And if providers like Sony, and Studio Canal in this instance, I think, is also partially to blame, if they're going to start removing media from platforms that people are buying, that's not okay. Like, people are putting trust in these platforms that, okay, I'm going to buy this so I can watch it.
Yeah.
Not like, I'm going to take it away from you whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
But I suppose the larger question here, and this is maybe a little bit morbid me thinking about it, like, what happens to the digital media that you've purchased when you're no longer here? And I mean, I'd like to say that's a later me problem, but and the reality is that later this year I'm turning 40. I'm getting to the point where I need to start thinking about what happens to my assets, not only physical assets, but digital assets when I'm gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a legitimate thought, isn't it? Yeah.
And not a lot of providers have plans in place for this. I mean, you can, like, grant other people access to services. You can have family plans so that other people can access them, but there's no guarantee that any of this content that you buy is going to last forever.
No.
Yeah, it's a challenging topic. It's a challenging topic, but I think that removing content, first of all, is not okay. And I can understand why people are wanting to do whatever is possible to be able to preserve physical media in whatever shape that may be for as long as possible.
Yeah.
I'll move on to the second news story now, because I feel like this first one, physical media, is a little bit of a loaded topic, and I could literally talk forever about it. But the second news story for this week, we've talked a lot on the show this past year already about new AI models, such as Anthropic's Mythos and ChatGPT 5.5 and 5.6 Cyber, which have been made available to key businesses and governments around the world and shown that they can pose significant cyber threats, but also be used to also identify security vulnerabilities and the like, and support tech research and support security research and patch vulnerabilities and things like that before cyber criminals can even target them. And I would like to say that eventually that it's not going to get out to cyber criminals, but it's just going to happen. We know in the tech industry, we know that it's only a matter of time before cyber criminals start using similar tools like this as part of attacks. And the security researchers, the SysDig threat research team, this past week actually uncovered what they believe to be the first instance of an AI agent executing a cyber attack from start to finish. The attack was fully automated, and it was a ransomware attack where the victims were forced to pay a ransom in order to what they believed gain access to their data. The AI attacker, which has been nicknamed Jade Puffer, I think that's how we say it. I apologize if that's wrong. It's all one word. It broke into a vulnerable server, discovered passwords, login credentials, and then encrypted a production database before demanding a Bitcoin ransom from the targeted business. After gaining access, the open source tool for building AI applications called Langflow started looking for credentials with explicit coverage for I think it was specifically targeted at like Chinese providers from what I've been able to see, people like Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei. It was able to adapt its tactics in real time, working at speeds far faster than the average human cyber criminal. The director of threat research at SysDig, Mark Clark, said that it adapted in real time, retrying failed steps with refined parameters. And in one sequence, it went from failing to be able to log in to a working fix and accessing things within 31 seconds, which is scary when you think about it. Someone who can work at that sort of speed. They even noticed that even if the victim paid the ransom, that nothing would be able to be recovered anyway, because even though it looked like the data was encrypted, the AI agent had actually already deleted the original data without backing any of it up. These findings from all of the reports that I've read have yet to be independently verified, but it just goes to show that it is only really a matter of time before cybercriminals start using some of these new types of agentic AI-powered cyber threat solutions to autonomously conduct cyber attacks. I mean, from yourself, Louise, do you think that like the average business is even prepared or even aware that these new types of threats could even be available and could be used to target them?
I think AI in itself has been a hot topic for a long time for
Yeah,
lots of different reasons.
yeah.
And I think
Don't get me started on AI posters.
exactly. I know.
AI posters is a completely different topic entirely.
Oh god. But yeah, essentially, I think fear is probably one of the main things that I've had when I've talked about it with people.
Yeah,
They've had fear of actually trying it at all, and then fear of what it can do, and fear of it taking people's jobs,
yeah,
and this is just adding to that fear essentially, because I think there isn't, as you say, there isn't a lot of information about it, and
no,
how it works, and how you can protect yourself in terms of when you are using it, or
yeah,
if it's going to be used against you. And it's a wonderful tool. I do use it myself during my day-to-day sort of work.
yeah,
It really helps hone ideas and things like that, and
yeah.
sort of
Help
get your thoughts
develop
together.
things and like
Yeah,
just organize thoughts, or in
exactly.
the purpose of creating a thumbnail for this morning's podcast, like throwing together like 5 different photos and saying,
Yeah.
we don't have a photo together, just put something together
Yeah,
quickly.
just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has its uses, absolutely, but it's I think it's just the same as everything else, though. I mean, we have knives we can cook with, chop and cook, but you can also hurt someone.
Yes.
It's if it's in the wrong hands, it's going to be. And I don't think there's enough thought put into the protection side of things with some
Yeah.
technologies. I think I mean, going back to the first point today about the physical media and the changes that are coming in, people are just doing rather than thinking. I think
Yeah.
there doesn't seem to be a lot of like thought around what happens if it goes wrong. They're more of, well, we'll just try it, and if it goes wrong, we'll deal with it then.
Yeah.
And I think this is the fear, I think, that sits with most people around AI. It's very new, and people are just throwing themselves into it because it can do wonderful things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there is that
not understanding the risks that it can present. I mean, not a lot of people know that if you feed data into a model like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and any sort of these public models, not a lot of people know that a lot of the time it's actually training itself off of the data that you're providing. I mean, if you provide it with sensitive financial information, HR documentation, like if it's learning off of that, potentially it could be providing those bits of information as answers to other people, and you're not even really aware of it. And at that point, it's a breach of GDPR and things like that.
Yeah.
I've not included this as a talking point, but it kind of relates back to something else that I've covered on the podcast in previous weeks. Famously, the new Anthropic, so Claude model Fable 5 was stopped being able to be available to people by the US government, and was held for review because it was seen as potentially being a threat to people who could potentially use it for malicious purposes. But what do you think about how we should have better control over the what's the way that I'm wanting to be able to word this? Because it's a challenging subject, really. I mean, do you think that a single government should be able to solely say, no, this can't be out there in the world, it's too dangerous? Or do you think that there should potentially be a more international oversight of the safe and secure development of AI solutions going forward?
I think there probably needs to be something larger,
Yeah,
because if we find, say, this government finds something that's sort of dangerous,
yeah,
we yes, I suppose we can only advise
yeah.
other parties, but I suppose it's that moral standing.
Mm,
For me, if I found something that I thought would harm someone, I would try my best to protect everyone, not
yeah.
just protect, a certain amount of people. So, but within governments and different governments, there's all the politics that gets in the way of that.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's kind of been the danger with this, the US government imposing these restrictions, is that there has been the fear that there are other agendas at
yeah,
play potentially with making some models unavailable whilst also letting other models still be available.
yeah,
I think having a more multinational oversight of the creation of new AI tools and security checks and things like that, and making
yeah,
sure that they can be used securely and responsibly more than anything else,
absolutely.
I think is important. But I don't think it should really be the sole responsibility of one government to say no, you can't do that.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I think as well, it's just I suppose we should focus really on the protection of things that really need
Yeah,
the protection. Maybe that's the way to start, rather than trying to, blanket cover.
exactly.
It's maybe thinking, I mean, for me personally, with adoption, we've got people's lives, people's data,
Yeah,
that we store. There's the life stories, birth history, all sorts of different private
yeah.
information.
The
And
sort of personal information that you hold is potentially a cyber criminal's dream when it
yeah,
comes to the sorts of data that they want to be targeting to
yeah,
potentially ransom.
absolutely, absolutely that. So yeah, I think the focus can only be on protecting what needs protection, I
Yeah,
suppose. And
and
yeah,
I think it's right that these creators of these models are making it available first of all to the likes of Microsoft, the likes of Apple, people who can then use these tools to be able to look for vulnerabilities and prevent maybe unseen threats in their own systems to begin with. I mean, the Microsoft Patch Tuesday was the largest to date in June, sorry.
yeah,
And even Apple as well fixed probably the most amount of bugs in more recent software updates that they've had as well, largely because they're using these tools to be able to plug these holes. But I think that beyond that, as we see threats like agentic AI ransomware start to become more widely used by cyber criminals, yeah, businesses and people around the world need to be aware, look, these sorts of threats are coming, and you need to make sure that you have the protections in place and you can protect your data and the data that you hold of clients and end users and people that trust you, basically. I mean, in your industry, for example, Louise, like, these people trust you to be able to hold a lot of sensitive data. And if
Yeah.
that was targeted by a cyber criminal and if that was stolen,
Yeah.
the reputational sort of damage that that could have could be significant.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for such as adoption, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a life choice and it's a life decision. And yeah, for us promoting that, it's, yeah, trust and safeguarding come right at the top
Yeah.
for anything that we sort of do. I mean, we can be led by that because that's sort of the way of how we think sort of
Yeah.
in that sector, thankfully. So we do think about these things, but yeah, I mean, for us, we use like a third party
Yeah.
to store our data, and I think a lot more agencies like us, because we're only a small one.
Yeah.
Other agencies like us are doing the same thing because we have to try and put our trust in the people that know a little bit more about it, because
Yeah.
you know we're experts in our field, but we're not experts in tech, and
And
so
that's the thing. Not a lot of people have that dedicated person within their business that understands
mm,
technology, cybersecurity, and things like that. And part of the reason why we offer a VCIO service, for example, for those who aren't aware what that is, it's a virtual chief information officer, is that they exist as a board level sort of person that can advise on technology. For people that don't have that internal tech person, they can just turn around and say, where do you want to be in 5 years, and how can we help you accomplish it through technology securely?
yeah,
But not a lot of people still have that. They don't have that go-to person that's like, oh yes, I understand that,
mm,
and this is what we can do to be able to keep data secure and things like that. So
exactly. Yeah,
yeah, I think a lot more businesses need to be aware of these new types of threats. They need to be aware of what cyber criminals are targeting, which at the end of the day is the data that businesses hold,
yeah,
but also the kind of damage that can be done. I was speaking with, we've got a new business development guy that started this week, and um, I was speaking to him about um, things like downtime. And when you think of downtime, you think, oh, my computer's not working, what can I do? But in reality, downtime could affect an entire business. I mean, what happens if a business couldn't do any work for an hour? Okay, well, if it's the internet that goes out for an hour, that might not be a big issue. But if they can't do work for a day
yeah,
or a week, or they lose access to all of the data entirely and they have to try and rebuild, that could have serious long term consequences that could impact the business.
absolutely.
Anyway, moving on to the third story for this week. These stories so far this week are just we seem to be going really into the deep end with some of this stuff.
Very, very deep thoughts. Lots of deep thoughts.
Exactly. But yes, the third story for this week. WhatsApp has started to roll out a major new feature which allows users to use usernames instead of traditional phone numbers. When the service fully launches later this year, you can actually reserve your username now if you want to. However, that is if it does launch. Regulators in India have, since the announcement, raised some serious security concerns about the change, with India's Ministry of Electronics and Information and Technology requesting that WhatsApp suspend the rollout until an assessment is carried out to determine whether it could increase online fraud and scams potentially. Whilst WhatsApp have promoted the new feature as a privacy first update that would allow people to protect their phone numbers from strangers, especially like in group chats. I don't know about you, Louise, but sometimes I get added to group chats. It's like, who are these people? These
Yeah,
aren't in my phone book. I have no idea who these people are. But all of a sudden,
absolutely.
they've got access to your phone number.
Yes.
The fear, though, is that this new username feature could also then increase online fraud and phishing and impersonation attacks by using usernames to impersonate or closely resemble people and major brands. A spokesperson from Meta has said that to protect against online impersonation, they've held the highest profile names like public figures, government entities, celebrities, and even verified Meta accounts so that only they can be claimed by their legitimate owners, and even lookalike derivatives of well-known names are also held as well. And even, I believe, if you sign up at the moment, it does say that you can reserve your own Instagram handle, and that is reserved until you select otherwise, I think. But the fear, of course, around this is that still some people can be targeted. Whilst people like public figures, celebrities, and the like have had their usernames protected and derivatives of their names protected, what is to stop, I don't know, a business person or a managing director of a business or a finance person or even a relative, like a family member, from having their name used or a derivative of their name used that could then potentially be used for phishing? I mean, can you imagine receiving a message from someone that looks like it's a family member saying, "Oh, I've lost access to my card. Can you send me some money to my phone so I can pay for transport home," or something like that? Like,
Yeah.
it just goes back to the same sort of phishing scams that people have been doing for the longest time.
Yeah.
And it could potentially make it easier and even more believable by having a username that closely resembles someone you know, or something like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
WhatsApp are trying to add an extra layer of protection to this with a username key, meaning that when someone tries to contact you, they'll need to also type in a 4-digit key that you give them before being able to contact you for the first time. However, from what I've been able to see, I loaded it up on my phone over the weekend. By default, everyone is selected. So you actually have to enable the 4-digit key. I suppose the bigger question, I think, for yourself, Louise, is what do you think that enough thought has been put into this about the potential ramifications for the everyday user of WhatsApp rather than just the, I don't know, public figures and businesses that Meta deem as worthy of their own protection, let's say?
Yeah, I think very much as you said that, I was thinking, what about us?
Yeah.
What about us?
What
Um, and also, I think, I mean, us as a business, we use WhatsApp just to try and for people to ask questions and things.
yeah.
Because again, adoption's very personal, and sometimes people are quite um, fearful to come forward and inquire because they might think that they're signing up to something quite immediately
Yeah.
that we want them to come forward. So we introduce WhatsApp chat to be quite informal, so they
Yeah.
could just ask any questions they need to,
Yeah, of
and
course.
and it be really a safe route in. But again, if we've got to then change our username, are we then going to have to look for the other ones that it could potentially be?
Yeah.
We're going to have to maybe watch our tone of voice to make sure that they understand who we are. Really think about how our brand comes across, I
Yeah.
suppose, to make sure that they know it is us at the other end and
Yeah. 'Cause
not someone
at the
else.
end of the day, whilst you could be reserving your handle as Yorkshire Adoption Agency,
Mhm.
what's to stop someone, I don't know, typing in Yorkshire with an I or something somewhere,
Yeah,
and it looks almost exactly the same, and
yeah,
people receive messages from that, and it's like, oh yeah, I know, I'll respond to that.
yeah.
Like, there's nothing to stop people from
No,
potentially doing that.
no, definitely not. It is. It's something that's, again, it's just something else to worry about.
And it's something else to consider.
We've got very worrying topics today. Very worrying topics.
Maybe I need to do a good news show. Like,
Yes, please.
here's all the good things that we can talk about in technology.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Get
it's
the answers to all these would be great. But yeah,
I don't like to have like downer topics, but I think with some of these, we were talking about this a little bit before the show. We'll go back to the last topic actually for this. Like, you were saying to me that, like, before me sending you the talking points and
yeah.
the topics that we'll be covering today, like, it's not something that you'd ever be aware of.
No, absolutely not. No.
And what I try to do with the podcast is help spread that awareness to a certain extent, introduce people to some of these news topics and some of these technology topics, cybersecurity and AI and things like that. They might not pick up on in like day-to-day news. I mean, apparently 60% of people don't pick up newspapers anymore.
Mm.
So, like,
Yeah.
unless you keep up to date with this sort of thing inside digital news, and it might not even be a topic that you're even interested in, a lot of people aren't really aware of it.
No, absolutely. It is always good to bring the awareness. Absolutely.
Exactly. Let's move on to some very short, very quick topics though now. So the victims of the 2023 23andMe hack, that's a mouthful to be able to say, which impacted the personal data and information of 6.9 million people, are set to receive a shared total payout of £35 million, or the equivalent of that, from Chrome Holding, who bought the company out of bankruptcy last year and is actually owned by the former co-founder of 23andMe as well, which is complex in itself. Which, when you think about it, to say that the valuable information of 6.9 million people were breached, it isn't really a lot that these individuals are getting as part of an attack that actually impacted their very personal information. It's, at the end of the day, 23andMe were like genetic testing and being able to link to like lots of different things like family members around the world and stuff like that. Like, it isn't a lot. It's like, here's a fiver. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
Basically.
yeah. It's like I don't think that that's going far enough. If I'm completely honest. The next news story, it's been announced that SpaceX intentionally deorbited and burned up 260 Gen 1 and Gen 2 satellites between December 1st and May 31st, and decommissioned a further 349, and those are expected to be deorbited in the next few months. But to date, they have so far deorbited a total of 1,357 satellites and operate a further 10,000. It's also been announced that a further 7,500 have already been approved. As this is part of the company's goal to reach around 42,000 satellites total. I think there is a targeted date for that, although I don't have it in my notes. But the reason why I wanted to bring up this is that, according to the articles that I was reading, that there are potential atmospheric repercussions from the burns of these satellites in the atmosphere that could have a potential knock-on impact on just the global. Again, I struggled to be able to find the word for this when we are having the pre-show earlier, but it could have knock-on impacts on weather systems around the world, and could see temperatures rise if some of these like fine metals are introduced into the atmosphere as well. So I suppose the thing that we need to consider about with this is, yes, people have been burning up satellites in low Earth orbit for a long period of time, but do these technology companies need to start looking at other solutions for this to be able to prevent any knock-on impact to the world, really?
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I mean, it's sort of saying space junk. I described it
Yes.
as just having loads of space junk.
Yeah.
It's similar to the junk that we have here in the landfill and the environmental factors. I suppose
Yeah.
it all contributes to that, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Which
And
is something that needs to be thought about. Definitely.
yeah, just because it's in space doesn't mean that we don't have the responsibility for it anymore.
Yes, absolutely.
It kind of reminds me of Wall-E, like
Yeah.
the bit where they're returning to Earth and that they're going through like all of those satellites in
Yes.
that big spaceship, and it's just like, yeah, we don't want to get to that.
No, exactly. Everyone should watch Wall-E. If you've not seen it, please watch it.
Yes, definitely.
And remind yourselves of exactly where we could end up if we
Yes.
don't do something now.
Fantastic Pixar film, one of my favorites.
It is great. I love it.
Yeah. The next news story for today, Samsung have announced that the next Galaxy Unpacked event, which takes place on can't get my words out today. The next Galaxy Unpacked event will take place on July 22nd at 2 p.m. UK time, and they're expected to reveal their latest foldable phones. Now, personally, I'm also hoping that they do something really cool with the marketing campaign this time, because last time they did like renaming tube stations, they had a foldable pop-up event and folding buses and stuff like that everywhere. And yeah, I really enjoyed the launch. I don't have a folding phone personally.
I do.
You have a folding phone. Do you enjoy the folding phone?
I love the folding phone.
I
had one.
Extra screen real estate, or
It's no. I just enjoy. I'll be really honest. I really enjoy just snapping it closed after I've finished a phone call. I feel very much like a diva and just snap it closed.
It reminds me of like the old like clamshell phones, like
Yes.
when I think we're the same age actually now, or thereabouts, growing up. I remember my first like clamshell phone, like snap it closed when you're done with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Broke a few hinges doing that over the years.
Yeah. Absolutely, they are very sturdy nowadays.
Yeah.
I would say the only thing about it, I feel it weighs a lot more than a standard phone. But yes, I would definitely have another one. I've had it probably nearly 2 years, so I'll be coming up for the upgrade. So
yes, so like you'll
I'll
be
be looking
keeping an eye on the announcements on the 22nd.
Yes,
then,
absolutely, absolutely.
The final news story for this week is actually a little bit of 24 news. We're actually very pleased to announce that our own MD, Mike Smith, has been elected as a non-executive director of Doncaster Chamber of Commerce. And we released a full article about this yesterday afternoon, but Mike did leave me a quote, and he said that he was very humbled to be voted in by our local business community, and that he looks forward to working with Dan Fell and the Doncaster Chamber team to support businesses and support the success of our local business community. So I wanted to be able to share that. If anyone wants to be able to find out more about the appointment and also the other people who were appointed, that includes Louise Smith, another member of our Doncaster Marketing Forum as well as Virginia Perkins as well. So by all means, head over, check out that article. There's also further information over on the Doncaster Chamber website. Moving on to this week's 24 top tech tip topic of the week. I got that one out.
Nice. I
got that one out. I can't get through the news stories without stumbling over my words, but I can get the 24 top tech tip topic of the week again.
And again, you're showing off now.
Yeah, exactly. I must have had enough practice on that one phrase by now. But yes, so this week's article is all about the different kinds of Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi is one of those things that people only really notice when it stops working. I know that I've, until I upgraded the Wi-Fi in our home recently, I'd get random messages from like my wife saying, the Wi-Fi is not working, we need to be able to fix it, or how do I restart it? Because I've got it like above the TV on a little shelf. It's like, I can't reach that. How do I restart it? Anyway, I've got it fixed now, but people don't really think about Wi-Fi until they can't use it. If everything's running smoothly, if people can connect, no one talks about it. But of course, the moment you get a dropped video call, a card machine doesn't work, a scanner won't connect in a warehouse, someone can't get onto the internet in a meeting room, all of a sudden people think, oh no, there's a problem with the Wi-Fi, what do I do now? And strangely enough, the most common Wi-Fi standard that's used by people and businesses around the world is Wi-Fi 5. Not many people know that that's actually a standard that was introduced 13 years ago. And as with many things, like everything's evolved over that time. Phones, tablets, watches. Like, let me ask you yourself, Louise, how many internet connected devices do you personally use at home? Just off the top of your head.
Probably maybe 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'd probably go even higher than that, honestly. I was thinking about it this morning when I was writing down some of these notes. I was thinking, like, between my phone, my watch, then there's, like, my tablet, then there's, like, my work computer, then there's, like, a Switch console, then there's, like, a games console in the living room. Like, these sorts of, like, devices quickly add up over time. And I think like, when I come to like the end of my list, I was like, personally, I have about 12 different devices that could be connected at any given time. But in the office, that could also be, so in some cases, potentially just as high. Like you've brought in a laptop with you today with some of the notes on for the podcast. Like you've got your laptop, but you've also got your phone.
Yeah.
If you've got a smartwatch, you could potentially also have that. You could potentially have a work phone and a personal phone. And those devices kind of quickly add up.
Yeah.
And whilst that's fine in the majority of cases, especially in a smaller office, for example, the reality is that these older standards like Wi-Fi 5 aren't actually built to be able to have too many devices connected to them at any given time. And as more devices get introduced into the workplace, a lot of these older networks are now starting to struggle.
Yeah.
Newer standards like Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E were introduced in around 2021. And even then we've had newer, again, still with Wi-Fi 7 introduced in 2023. And these newer Wi-Fi standards are built directly to kind of combat these sorts of challenges, to have more devices connected to them at any given time, but also provide even faster speeds. And a lot of people don't realize that you could have, again, I'm looking for my phone, I was going to hold it. You could have a new iPhone or a new Samsung phone that has Wi-Fi 7 capability. But if you've got a router or a Wi-Fi access point that's only capable of supplying Wi-Fi 5 speeds, you're not really getting the most out of the technology that you have available to you. Like, it's not just one laptop connected to the internet anymore. You could have lots and lots of different devices. And whilst these older Wi-Fi networks can still work, I'm not saying that they don't. They're not really designed for more modern workflows and more modern demand that people are working with nowadays. And it kind of goes back to the topics that I was speaking about last week with Wi-Fi dead zones. People are going to feel like the internet's slow. People are going to feel like they can't get connected. And it's not that anything's really changed, it's that they've not changed with the technology. Wi-Fi shouldn't really be thought of anymore as just a box or a puck on the wall that like operates and people are just hunky-dory and can just get on with stuff. It's like, it needs to be considered as part of a wider business technology plan nowadays. As people bring in newer laptops and phones, tablets, scanners, people start using newer solutions like video streaming, cloud systems, and more flexible working. Wireless networks need to be able to keep up with the demand and offer the best connectivity for these newer devices as well.
Yeah.
We have a VCIO, as I said, who work with businesses to be able to look at their technology strategy and help plan them as they grow and work with people to be able to say, okay, where do you want to be in the next 5 years? Okay, well, you're wanting to be able to double, triple in size. Well, let's see if we can make sure we can get the technology in place, whether it's network, whether it's Wi-Fi, whether it's laptops, hardware, and things like that. Let's see if we can get that technology in place now that can help you grow and succeed through the technology that you use.
Yeah.
I suppose I asked Alexis of the Car Foundation this last week, but do you ever find that when you're either in the office or when you're visiting places, like when we go to the marketing forum or when you're out for work or you're away for any events or just on holiday, do you ever feel that Wi-Fi connectivity can potentially be unreliable when you most need it?
Yeah, definitely. I find, I think we spoke about hotels just prior to this, but yeah, hotels definitely. I
Yeah.
feel like they always feel like they're stretched too thin.
Oh, definitely.
It's so slow, and you just think, yeah, there's 150 people on this right now. You can really feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I think as well, again, thinking about the Wi-Fi as you pay, so pay per month.
Yeah.
And we kind of wait most of the time for the company to ring and say, "Oh, we can upgrade you if you want,"
Yeah.
instead of us asking them,
Yeah.
have we got the best one? Are we using the best one for our, for what we want to use it for?
Yeah.
Is it serving our purpose? If it's not serving the purpose, why aren't we, shopping around and looking for something else? It's
Yeah.
just not something that we tend to do. As you say, having someone in the office that knows that and having someone advise your business around that is really, really crucial, I think, because it's just something that, the layperson doesn't really think about.
Yeah. A lot of people think of it as just like we say, a box that just gets installed and then away you go sort of thing. And
Yeah.
they don't really think of like when does that need to be upgraded? What's like, how is that going to impact me in like 5-10 years from now? And but also there's other things to consider about as well. There's the wider technology around that, like networking equipment in the office. Is that built for the right speeds? Like you could put in a Wi-Fi 7 access point, but unless you've got the network infrastructure to back it up that can also deliver those speeds for the users as well,
Yeah.
it's not really much point in having a Wi-Fi 7 router at the end of the day, is there?
Exactly. Yeah. It's
So
compatibility, isn't it?
it is.
But and if you don't have that understanding, it's difficult to then think, because you don't know to think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
You don't know that it's all sort of interconnected, and yeah.
Yeah, and there's also then the ongoing security considerations around a lot of these things as well. A lot of businesses, for example, don't have Wi-Fi guest networks. And some of the older Wi-Fi solutions, if you've got, say, for example, we'll go back to the hotel example. I was at a hotel, I'll not say which, it's a local hotel. But I was at a hotel this past week where they had a staff network, they had a guest network, they had two guest networks, then they had also a conference network, and like you start to see all of these different things. Like, is the right security in place on those sorts of guest networks and conference networks? Like, I just because I know what I'm doing, I looked at it and then I was like, okay, let me have a look what other devices are on this network. And I found that from the conference network, I could see a staff printer.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that, well, that could actually potentially be dangerous for us and how we're operating.
Mm.
And those are other things that need to be considered as part of this beyond just the technology itself as well.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
definitely things for people to be able to think about. And if people want to find out more about this, we do have a full article over on the 24 IT website this week about the different kinds of Wi-Fi and what it's used for, the kind of like brief history of Wi-Fi as well, like all the way back from Wi-Fi 1 all the way to where it is now and potentially where it could go in years to come as well. But yeah, if you want to be able to find out more about that or about guest networks and how Wi-Fi infrastructure can support your business, head over and check that out. We also have a new article coming next week, which is about why Wi-Fi isn't always the most adequate thing for businesses. And sometimes a cabled network for valuable equipment and equipment that needs constant uptime is probably the best solution after all. So make sure to check that out next week. But of course, the whole reason why I like to be able to bring on guests from our local business community is to find out more about who they are, what they do, and what's important to them. So, Louise, tell us a little bit more about Yorkshire Adoption Agency and some of the history of Yorkshire Adoption Agency and what you guys do and support people with.
So, our little agency has been around since 1946. So, we celebrated our 80th birthday this year.
Wow, I
Um,
did not realize that it had been around for that long.
yes, yeah. We were set up post-war.
Yeah,
There were the local authority initially needed support with social workers to help place the children post-war.
yeah,
So we followed a model from York Adoption Society, which I believe, I don't think it's still going, unfortunately.
Oh.
But but we took their model and based it on that. And
Yeah.
then, we just carried on sort of supporting finding families for children. And we've continued to do that. For 80 years. And I think the most important thing to say now is we very much have learned from our story all
Yeah.
the way through, and we very much have a modern adoption service nowadays, which most people may have their own preconceived notions about
Yeah.
adoption, what adoption is, but modern adoption is it's completely different, very child focused.
Yeah.
And basically,
That's the most important thing at the end of the day, I suppose.
exactly, we've got to be child focused. Everything we do, we think about the children
Yeah.
first, always. And we recruit the adults and train them,
Yeah.
get them approved, and then we find children from all across the UK for the families that we have. And we also offer intercountry adoption, which is a very interesting that's a whole other conversation, though I won't get into that. But yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely place to work. I've been there for 10 and a half years now.
Wow.
I know. I never thought I'd say that. I was like, oh, I'll stay here for 3 years and then get
Yeah.
bored and then leave. But no, I've been 10 and a half years and I
Did
absolutely
you
love
start
it.
in marketing when you started?
No, I started in administration. I was very excited. I did write a blog on this for my 10-year anniversary. If you want to go on our website and have a look at that. But I've always fancied like a desk job, and it was
Yeah.
my very first desk job.
Oh.
And I can't tell you how excited I was to have my own desk. It was like unbelievable. Like my desk PC, we had the massive PCs back then.
Yeah.
We've all got laptops now. It's really,
Giant
really
monitors and
yes. We've come so far as well. So obviously, being there that long, I have seen the growth that we've been through,
the modernization and
absolutely.
how things have changed over time.
Yes, we were very much paper based when I started. I were printing things off and putting them in folders, ring binders. There were
Yeah.
staplers, the hole punchers, which are very fun to play with.
Oh, yeah.
But they're it's much more convenient now to just zip something over to an online thing.
Yeah, just upload it to where it
Just
needs to be.
upload it Yeah, much more accessible for people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are 18 staff altogether.
Oh, it's still quite
So
a
we
small
are very,
team
very
then,
small. Yeah, very, very small. But we do a lot. We
yeah.
do a lot. So yeah, I think, like I say, the overarching thing for me, moving from admin into marketing, I've done the marketing for about, I think it's 5 years now, maybe
Yeah.
6. And
Some of us
the
just fall into marketing eventually, don't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, I've dipped in and out of it over the years in different
Yeah.
jobs. I've always been in like forward-facing jobs, so I think there's an element of that always anyway.
Yeah.
But I think for us, for the thing I'm most proud of is the brand sort of trust, and
Yeah.
which you will know all about branding. But yes, I'm really, really, really pleased with how I've got that developed, and now it's, we've got a really solid foundation, and that everyone in the organisation knows. They know the tone, they know what to say, they know exactly how it should be delivered. We're all sort of singing from the same hymn sheet, and it's come about really holistically as well. I didn't
They're
have to.
proud to represent the brand because
Yes,
of that. Yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, and I think because we've got such a great legacy, for our birthday this year, we decided to do a legacy piece of art.
All right.
To encompass adoption as a story, which we partnered with SCAF, which is the Scott Creative Art Group.
All right.
And they found us a lovely artist from Hull, and she's been working with us, staff, trustees, children. We've made a piece of art that will be displayed in a few weeks' time at the Dagenham Gallery in town.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that then.
Yes, so it will be displayed there, and it's alongside the Emerging Artist Award that SCAF actually produce. So that is our sort of big piece. So it's going to be it's a sort of a quilt made up of different stamps that we've all done.
Yeah.
And then a little village that the children made, little like pop-up houses. And there's going to be a soundscape as well to go with it.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it's going to be a bit of an immersive piece, but hopefully really resonate what family is, what adoption means to everybody that's worked with it, that's been affected by it, experienced with it. Yeah, it's been wonderful to do. We've dipped it in and out of different events that we've done. So we had a big sort of family birthday party in May, and the artist came and set up her stuff so people could go in and do all their pieces of work and everything, and then she's going to put it all together and sort of present it at the awards in the Dagenham Library.
That's really lovely to be able to hear. And I suppose for yourself, now being there for as long as you have been, you've not only seen the business grow, but off of the back of that, you've seen like the children grow up as well, and the I suppose there's the different stories that can be told there around that as well.
Absolutely. I think as well, a lot of people think it's I don't know, adoption's quite a final thing. I don't think people realise that once you find, if you think back to when you were a child, all the so you have to go school exams, your milestones in your life. To have that stability and support and permanence somewhere, it means everything. So that you have that solid foundation to then build from. When you live in, because obviously our children, when they're living with the foster carers, they know that their plan is adoption. They know that they eventually will have a family to live
forever
with permanently. Absolutely, but they are in a constant state of living without that permanence, I suppose, which is very difficult to then, I mean, kids are really resilient, but to continue the day-to-day, it can be quite a challenge. And then they find that permanence. We get the family together and place them, and everything's wonderful. But that's when their journey really starts then, because they've got that foundation. They've finally found that solid foundation of permanence and stability, and that emotional support as well, to be able to then be the best that they can be. And I think adoption, it's a continued journey. So our agency provides lifelong support, because we understand that a child might be placed at 4 years old, but they might need further support when they're 10.
Yeah.
because they're doing exams or whatever, and
Of
you
course.
know, and their experiences, you know, they might have triggers and trauma that come up,
Yeah.
as it were. But yeah, I think people think, oh, they're adopted now, so it's all right.
It shouldn't just be that, like we were talking about with technology earlier. I know it's completely different, but adoption should definitely not be a one and done solution. It's that the children at the end of the day, they need that ongoing support. They
Yeah,
need that ongoing stability.
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, are there any? I know we've spoken about some of it as a kind of like a general overview of the support that you do, but are there any notable stories that you can think of? I know you might not be able to share names, of course, but are there any notable stories of a particular adoption that or a particular journey that someone's been through that has kind of hit home with you?
Um,
Or
I
is it
would
just that
say,
day to day sort of like,
yeah, I think, I mean, we've given support for sometimes some silly things, which you wouldn't think of.
yeah?
So there was one family that their child had issues around like hygiene.
All right, yeah,
So they would only use like a toothbrush once and then want to throw it away because they felt it was, you know, dirty.
yeah,
So we supported them by just buying them a load of toothbrushes. You
yeah,
know, there's some that have had books and things, you know, because they've been going through something specific. So we've
mm,
found books and things or podcasts that they can listen to for
yeah,
further advice. We buddy people up as well. So
yeah.
we encourage that buddying. So they've got, you know, parental support from other parents, other experienced
So
adopters.
creating more of a community around it as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah. There's a saying. It's an African saying actually. It takes a village to raise a child,
Yeah,
and it's so true. I think even for all of us, I would say we all
yeah,
put our village around us, don't we? We've got friends, we've got family, we've got different pockets of people that we need specifically for ourselves.
yeah,
So I think we all have an element of putting together like a village for ourselves, certainly. But the journey itself as well. There's a couple I'm thinking of particularly. Um, they started the journey. It's 14 years it took them
really.
to get
Wow.
from literally from day one of I think we should adopt, let's
Yeah,
adopt, all the way through to being approved.
yeah.
And they took 3 children at once.
Really?
Yes, they did.
Were the children already family?
Yes, they're all siblings,
Yeah,
yeah, all related. And that's another thing, you know, it's you could have like I say, they're a family of 5 now in
yeah,
one. You know, they adopted once, but they're a family of 5.
yeah.
So you've got like that instant family sort of thing. If that was something that you wanted to do,
Wow.
definitely. But it's also supporting keeping those children together.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any siblings, AJ. Actually,
I have a sister.
you have
Yeah.
a sister.
We also have 2 children of our own.
Yes. So yeah, imagining that they could potentially be placed separately if they
Yeah,
had to be, you know, or you had to be separated from your sibling is
yeah,
quite and your sibling relationships is the longest relationship you'll have in your life.
yeah,
It's longer than your partner, obviously your parents.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a very important one. Um,
yeah.
yeah.
It does make me think actually, and again, slightly off topic, but I promise it relates. There is me and my wife love to watch an Apple TV show. It's made by the BBC, I think, called Trying.
Hmm.
And it's about a couple who had been trying for children of their own and unfortunately hadn't been able to conceive. And eventually they go down the adoption route
Mm.
and they get placed with a young girl and she comes to live with them. However, in the process of that, they discover that the young girl has a brother
Yeah.
and they were going to separate them.
Mm.
And it's about then the fight of we want to be able to adopt both of these children. We want to keep these children together. And actually, it was returning today for its latest season.
Oh.
And it's really interesting because it's been a couple of years since the last season as well, and it's interesting to see that family dynamic that kind of develops over time, and also then in the case of this show that we're watching, again, this step away from reality, but in the case of this show, they're also introducing the birth mother as well,
Yes.
and the ongoing relationship between how the family has formed and grown over time, and also the now ongoing relationship with the birth mother being involved as well. And it's really interesting to be able to see from the outside looking in, as someone who hasn't gone through that adoption process personally, the types of challenges that these people and families can face over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, with the child focus, modern adoption is all about relationships.
Yeah.
It's about keeping those relationships and promoting those relationships because, personally, I feel we've all got the right to know where we came from.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think anyone has the power to hold, to withhold that information from anybody. It's very much the right thing to do, to make sure that we keep, sort of encourage people to keep those relationships open. It might be that the child grows up into adulthood and doesn't want anything to do. They're quite happy with, but having that choice is paramount. I think
I think choice at the end of the day is something that people should always have, regardless of whether it's adoption or anything else. Like, people should always have that choice available to them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Have you got any other exciting things coming up, either at the adoption agency or yourself, over the next few months?
We've got the forum in September. I'm always excited.
Yes. We've got the Doncaster Marketing for 3rd of September. It's at the Hilton Garden Inn, Doncaster Racecourse. I know you were saying that you've not actually been there yet.
No, I've not been in there yet.
No.
So that'll be nice.
Lovely venue. I'm hoping that we're in like the first floor that overlooks the racecourse. Absolutely a brilliant space.
It'll make for some great selfies, because we need selfies, obviously.
We need one today, of course. We have to do it. I had to do an AI generated selfie for the thumbnail for the podcast today. So no, definitely need more selfies together.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'll have just come back from annual leave actually that week, because it's my birthday on the 1st of September. So
wonderful.
40 years old this year. People keep reminding me that it's supposed to be a big birthday, and I keep saying, no, it's not a big birthday. It's fine. I don't need to celebrate.
I would argue that for a big one, a milestone one, you have an entire year of celebrating.
An entire year. So from the 1st of September, I need to be celebrating every day for a year.
Yes, absolutely.
Way to celebrate at the marketing forum then.
Yes,
How can I have a marketing spin on my 40th birthday?
I'll bring some balloons.
No, but I'm looking forward to that. The marketing forum is so good to bring. We were talking earlier about building a community. We talked about it about the adoption agency, of course, but we've built this brilliant marketing community locally as well. And I know that you came along to one of, if not the very first marketing forum.
Yes.
There was the one out at the golf club.
Yes.
And then the second one was over at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Holiday Inn off the A1. And actually, that's when I realised that you grew up with someone that I...
I'll shout out. Shall I shout him out?
Go for it.
Shout out to Andrew Watson, the magician, the man of the moment, the magician. Yes.
It's strange how things come about, because I've known Andy. We went to sixth form together, and he was best man at my wedding, and we've kind of grown up together. And he's seen like the challenges that we faced as a family, because we struggled with like conceiving our children as well, and we even had a look at potentially would we need to look into adoption at some point. And he's kind of been my sounding board through a lot of that, and we have like monthly catch-ups at the pub and things like that. And he came along. He actually works for a charity that they're more of a global charity. They're not a member of Doncaster Chamber, so he doesn't get to come along to the marketing forums anymore. But he came along back when it was an independent event. And it was interesting that you two kind of had that kind of across the table.
Yeah.
Did we grow up? Yeah. Sort of moment.
Absolutely. He hasn't changed a bit. I recognised him straight
I can say like he's been the same the entire time I've known him.
Literally,
yeah. He doesn't change it. He's just one of those like lovely, honest sort of people, like always friendly face sort of thing. So
definitely.
I'm hoping that he can get involved in some more of these marketing events going forward. And in fact, I'll probably even see if he can come onto the podcast at some point.
Yes, get him on the podcast. Yes.
It'd be great to be able to hear more about what he's doing as well, because he started at the wildlife park and then took a year off, travelled the world, and then has gone into he works for a wildlife conservation sort of charity now. So but yeah, no, it's strange how things come about. But yeah, I'll go back to what I was saying before. We have a fantastic local marketing community, and it's great to be able to see that the marketing forum is continuing to grow. I remember those first ones, we were getting like 50, 60 people. We had like more than 80 people turn up to the last one, I think.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely
big.
massive, and I'm so proud of everyone involved. Like whether it's yourself and Lewis, who we spoke about earlier, who's
Yeah.
been brought on as a non-exec to the chamber board now, but also we've got people like Elliot involved, we've got Jordan involved, but we're also bringing in new sections as well now. We've brought in like design into the most recent one, which was it went down really well, and people had some really good conversations about. And of course, you lead up the strategy table.
I do.
And help people with their marketing strategies and create that focus and help with that development. I, of course, do the branding, whether it's personal or business branding, but we've also got video, we've also got social design, like I said, and also web as well. So any marketing people who may be tuning into this episode or catching any of the shorts following this episode, if you want to pop along to any of the marketing forums, it's free for Doncaster Chamber members, but also you can access it even if you're a non-chamber member, just as a small fee that usually goes to charity as well. So please feel free to be able to reach out if you want to be able to find out more. The next one is the 3rd of September 2026 at the Hilton Garden Inn at Doncaster Racecourse. But yes, thank you very much for coming in today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been lots of fun.
Yeah, it's
enjoyed it.
Sometimes the topics can get a little bit techie, and sometimes they're not the most interesting or maybe nicest topics in the world to be able to think about. But like I say, it's nice to be able to speak with people about these and make these topics relevant for people.
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. It's bringing that awareness, though, like you say.
Yeah.
People are aware. I'm certainly now aware of the AI cyber attack.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's. I think it's important to bring them to the fore and talk about them. Definitely.
Yeah, and like we're saying with the WhatsApp thing as well, like even just educating people that you're getting in touch with now, like this could potentially be a risk. Make sure you understand who you're messaging and things like that. Like these are all things that people need to understand. So no, it's been good to talk to you about it all, and it's been good to just invite you out to the office and just have a bit of a chat.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a lovely hour out, my little jolly out today.
Yeah, exactly. But no, thank you very much for coming along today. And I may not be doing a show next week. I am off one day this next week because it's my wife's birthday, actually. Ooh. So we'll be going out for the day, and just with business things, I might not be able to do the podcast next week as well. So hopefully people can join me in a couple of weeks' time at the very least. But until then, hope that you have a fantastic week, and I will see you all soon. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.